Welcome back to 504 Road Trips. In today's video, we continue north on US Highway 1, beginning at Florida mile 337.2. We roll into the little town of Palm Shores, which proudly calls itself the little town that cares. Palm Shores had a population of about 1,480 residents according to the 2023 American Community Survey, and it occupies a tiny slice of the Space Coast, squeezed between Melbourne and the Pineda Causeway. Here, US-1 carries 3 lanes in each direction, with a narrow median, occasional turn lanes, and a mix of trees, billboards, and utility lines. The road feels fairly rural for a US highway, with long stretches of wooded frontage, small businesses, and a few older motels and restaurants. Off to either side, back fences mark the edges of residential neighborhoods whose homes face inward on local streets rather than facing the highway. Although we're only a short distance from the Indian River Lagoon, the combination of houses, trees, and side streets keeps the water mostly out of sight along this run through Palm Shores. As we continue north, we approach a junction with State Road 404, the Pineda Causeway, on our right. US-1 connects with State Road 404 here by way of a half cloverleaf interchange, with looping ramps carrying traffic between the two roads. State Road 404 is a divided east-west highway that runs from Interstate 95 on the west over to State Road A1A near Patrick Space Force Base, providing one of the key connections between the mainland, Merritt Island, and the Atlantic beaches on the southern end of the Space Coast. The causeway crosses the Indian River Lagoon and the Banana River, and from US-1 you can follow it east towards South Patrick Shores, Satellite Beach, and the gates of the base, or west toward newer subdivisions and office parks near I-95. North of the 404 interchange, we leave Palm Shores and enter unincorporated Brevard County, and US-1 narrows to 2 lanes in each direction. The scenery doesn't change dramatically here. The highway stays slightly inland from the river with a backdrop of pine and palm trees, scattered auto shops, storage yards, and garden centers, and a few small shopping plazas serving the surrounding neighborhoods that stretch back towards Suntree and Vieira. Farther north, we reach the city limits of Rockledge, and US-1 becomes Rockledge Boulevard as we cross into the oldest incorporated city in Brevard County. Rockledge had about 28,300 residents according to the 2023 American Community Survey, with a median household income around $83,000 and typical home values near $327,000, reflecting its role as a stable middle-class community for workers tied to nearby Kennedy Space Center, Cape Canaveral, and the wider Space Coast economy. The city traces its roots to the 1870s and incorporated in 1887, taking its name from the ledges of coquina rock that line the Indian River shoreline just a few blocks to our east. US-1 widens back out to 3 lanes in each direction here, with a landscape median and frequent turn bays as we pass a mix of older strip centers, national chains, medical offices, and small local businesses. Cross streets lead east toward historic Rockledge Drive along the bluff above the lagoon, and west toward newer residential subdivisions and schools closer to I-95. Rockledge promotes parks like Riverwalk, a family park, with its Boardwalk and Riverwalk Nature Center on the lagoon. And the city calendar features community events such as the Rockledge Art and Crafts Show and the Light Up Rockledge Holiday Celebration, while nearby venues like Rockledge Gardens host seasonal markets and festivals. Lodging tends to cluster closer to the interstate, but along this corridor you'll see plenty of dining options and everyday services that make Rockledge feel more like a lived-in hometown than a tourist resort, even though visitors staying in nearby Cocoa Beach often come here for quieter riverfront walks and local restaurants. Staying on Rockledge Boulevard, we continue through the north side of the city with more commercial frontage, gas stations, and neighborhood shopping centers tucked between stands of trees and the occasional church or civic buildings set back from the roadway. Before long, we reach the northern city limits of Rockledge, and the sign ahead marks our entry into the city of Cocoa, where US-1 will soon drop us near the historic riverfront district of Cocoa Village and another major crossing at State Road 520 in a future video. We conclude today's video at mile 350.5. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please give us a thumbs up, subscribe, leave a comment below, share and follow us on social media, and join us for our next 504 road trip.